What if I told you that in 2025, you can still buy a real home in America for under $90,000? Not a rundown shack or a forgotten farmhouse miles from anywhere, but a solid, comfortable home in a real neighborhood, with tree-lined streets, parks nearby, and a sense of community that feels genuine. In a time when headlines constantly talk about housing crises, skyrocketing prices, and bidding wars, there are still pockets of the country where life moves a little slower, costs a lot less, and feels a lot more balanced. Most people think affordable living in the U.S. is a thing of the past. They imagine every decent home costs hundreds of thousands, that renting drains your savings, and that owning something stable is only for the wealthy. But that's not the full story. There are still cities, real, vibrant cities, where the American dream quietly continues, away from the noise of big metros and overpriced suburbs. Places where you can wake up, brew a cup of coffee, and actually feel like you're building something of your own, not just surviving paycheck to paycheck. The truth is, affordability isn't gone. It's just moved. It's shifted to smaller, more grounded communities, often in parts of the country people overlook, cities that may not have glitzy skylines or endless nightlife, but have everything you truly need for a comfortable, fulfilling life. A home you can actually own, a job that covers your bills, and enough peace of mind to enjoy your evenings instead of worrying about the next rent hike. Imagine waking up in a cozy two-bedroom home you bought for under $100,000. The morning light filters through your kitchen window. Outside, the neighborhood is quiet. Birds, maybe a few kids waiting for the school bus. You step out on the porch, coffee in hand, and for the first time in a long time you feel like you're not rushing against time. There's no crushing mortgage, no overcrowded city commute. Just a simpler kind of living that still feels rich in all the ways that matter. That's what this video is about. The search for that simplicity. The hidden cities across America where a middle-class lifestyle doesn't require a six-figure salary. Where the cost of living still matches what people actually earn. And where homes are more than investments. They're places to live, grow, and breathe. Over the past few years, more Americans have started looking inward, away from the coasts and into the heartland. They're finding affordable homes, friendly neighbors, and communities that still look out for each other. These aren't ghost towns or forgotten corners. They're thriving, modest cities with good schools, small businesses, and a sense of belonging. And many of them have homes selling for less than a new car. The average home price in the U.S. right now sits well above $400,000. But in a handful of overlooked cities, you can still find beautiful houses, some under $150,000, and a few even below $90,000. For the same cost as a year's rent in Los Angeles or New York, you could own an entire property somewhere else. That's not just affordable. That's life-changing. These places remind us that living well doesn't always mean living big. That comfort isn't about luxury. It's about freedom. The freedom to live without constant financial pressure, to save for the future, and to enjoy your present without feeling like you're falling behind. It's the quiet satisfaction of knowing that your home is yours, not your landlord's, not the bank's. Yours. If you've ever dreamed about breaking free from high-cost cities, if you've ever wanted more space, more time, and less stress, this is your sign. Because there are still American cities where those dreams are within reach. You just have to know where to look. In this journey, we'll explore a few of those places. Cities that combine affordability with livability. Places that prove you don't have to give up quality to gain peace of mind. From historic neighborhoods with character to Midwestern towns with strong local economies, these cities show a different side of America, one that's still hopeful, still hardworking, and still affordable. Whether you're planning to relocate, buy your first home, or simply curious about where your money goes further, these cities might surprise you. Because somewhere out there, behind all the housing market chaos, are communities where the old promise of American living still stands strong. Places where $80,000 or $100,000 doesn't just buy you a piece of land. It buys you stability, opportunity, and maybe even a new beginning. Affordable living in 2025 isn't a dream. It's real, it's quiet, it's waiting. And in the next few moments, we're going to uncover exactly where it still exists. Tucked away in the heart of Ohio lies a city that perfectly captures what affordable American living still feels like. Akron. A place where community comes before competition, and where the average home costs less than some people's annual rent in major cities. With a median home price of around $83,500, Akron quietly stands as one of the most affordable places to live in the entire country. It's not just cheap, it's comfortable, connected, and filled with history that gives the city its soul. Akron is one of those cities that surprises people. When you first hear the name, you might not imagine much beyond the old rubber industry days. But walk its streets now, and you'll find a mix of historic neighborhoods, revitalized downtown areas, and tree-lined blocks filled with character homes, brick facades, wide porches, and backyards that actually have space for a garden. It's the kind of place where you can still buy a real house, not a tiny box squeezed between strangers. For those chasing a simpler life, the cost of living here makes it possible. Rents average around $800 a month. Utilities stay reasonable through the seasons, and groceries and gas are some of the cheapest in the state. You don't have to cut corners to make ends meet. You can actually live within your means and still have a life outside your bills. The median household income hovers just over $53,000, and because the city's costs are low, that income stretches much further than it would elsewhere. Akron offers a little bit of everything. Small-town peace with the benefits of city convenience. There's a real sense of balance here. You'll find local markets selling fresh produce, affordable restaurants serving home-style meals, and a surprising arts scene that keeps the weekends interesting. The downtown area has gone through quiet revitalization, with coffee shops, co-working spaces, and independent boutiques adding a touch of modern charm without losing the city's original spirit. The real beauty of Akron is in its people. The community feels tight-knit but welcoming. Neighbors look out for one another, and there's a pride in local life that money can't buy. It's the kind of place where people still say hello when you walk by, where schools and community centers bring families together, and where affordability doesn't come at the cost of safety or opportunity. For many, it's a refreshing change from the anonymity and pressure of bigger cities. The homes themselves are a hidden treasure. For under $90,000, you can find properties with multiple bedrooms, hardwood floors, and yards that bloom in the summer. Some are old craftsman-style houses with stories in their walls, waiting for someone to make them feel alive again. Renovation projects here aren't daunting. They're opportunities. With local grants and low-interest programs for first-time buyers, even modest savings can go a long way toward homeownership. It's one of those rare cities where the math still makes sense. Life in Akron isn't about chasing trends. It's about building something stable. It's the kind of place where you can buy a home, pay it off, and still have room in your budget for living, travel, hobbies, or maybe even starting a small business. And because it's close to Cleveland, Columbus, and other Ohio hubs, you're never too far from bigger opportunities if you need them. But most people who move here find that they don't have to go anywhere else. Everything they need is right here, within reach. If you're someone who's tired of being stretched thin, Akron might feel like a deep breath. It's proof that a simple, affordable lifestyle doesn't mean giving up comfort or connection. It just means choosing a different kind of rhythm, a slower, more intentional one. In Akron, you can still find a home that fits your life, not the other way around. And in a world where housing has become a symbol of stress, Akron quietly reminds us what it's supposed to be: a foundation for living well. Travel a little northeast, and the story of affordability continues, this time in Buffalo, New York. A city that has weathered decades of change and somehow come out stronger, prouder, and more affordable than anyone might expect. With a median home price sitting close to $101,000, Buffalo proves that even in a state known for sky-high costs, there are still corners where you can live comfortably without breaking your budget. Buffalo has a kind of authenticity that feels rare these days. It's an old city, built with purpose and grit, and that character still runs through every neighborhood. From the historic homes near Elmwood Village to the quiet streets of South Buffalo, there's a mix of architecture and personality that gives the city its soul. You can find early 1900s homes with original woodwork, wide porches, and spacious yards. Properties that would cost $500,000 or more in most major metros. Here, they're priced for real people. The cost of living in Buffalo is well below the national average. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment hovers around $1,100 a month. Utilities stay manageable, and groceries, healthcare, and transportation all remain reasonable. The median household income is about $58,000, which means most families can afford a decent home, maintain savings, and still enjoy life. For those who work remotely, Buffalo is a hidden advantage, a place where you can earn from anywhere while paying local prices that make your paycheck go further. Winters here are cold, no doubt about it. But for many locals, that's just part of the city's identity. The snow brings people together. Neighbors help shovel each other's driveways, cafes glow with warmth, and the city's sense of resilience shines brightest when the temperature drops. Then, when spring comes, Buffalo bursts to life. The parks fill up, the waterfront draws crowds, and the city's energy turns from survival to celebration. There's an underlying optimism that makes Buffalo special. It's not flashy, but it's genuine. For people looking to live simply but meaningfully, Buffalo strikes the balance perfectly. It's big enough to offer culture, jobs, and nightlife, but small enough to feel connected. You can walk to a local bakery, support family-owned restaurants, catch a weekend market, and still be home before sunset. It's a city that feels human in scale, where you're never too far from nature or community. And if you're smart about timing, buying in Buffalo can be even more affordable. Local agents say the best deals appear in the colder months, between January and March, when fewer buyers are out and prices dip by as much as 10 to 15%. For anyone ready to invest or relocate, that's the perfect window to step in. Buffalo might not make headlines for glamour, but it quietly offers something more valuable: stability and belonging. Head a few hundred miles west, and that same spirit of affordable, down-to-earth living shows up again in Toledo, Ohio. Here, the median home price sits around $94,000, making it one of the lowest in the Midwest. It's a city with blue-collar roots, a hardworking population, and a steady economy built on manufacturing, healthcare, and education. Toledo has the feeling of a place that just keeps going. Steady, reliable, and real. Rent averages around $850, while median household income is about $55,000. The city's affordability makes it ideal for families, young professionals, or retirees looking for value without isolation. There's a calm rhythm to life here. Local diners serving breakfast for under $10, farmers markets where people know each other by name, and weekend drives to Lake Erie just a short distance away. Toledo's biggest secret might be its housing options. Duplexes and small multifamily homes are common, and buying one can be a smart move. Live in one half and rent out the other to offset most, if not all, of your mortgage. It's one of the easiest paths to affordable living and early financial freedom. Many locals do exactly that, turning modest homes into long-term investments without ever feeling stretched thin. Together, Buffalo and Toledo tell the same story in two different ways. Buffalo offers character, culture, and old-world charm. Toledo brings practicality, stability, and pure affordability. Both remind us that the dream of owning a home isn't gone. It's just hiding in plain sight, waiting for those willing to look beyond the big, expensive maps. In these cities, life is simpler, money goes further, and time moves at a pace that feels right. In the heart of Indiana sits a city that doesn't make much noise, but leaves a lasting impression on anyone who visits. Fort Wayne. It's not a place chasing trends or headlines. It's a place where people quietly build solid lives, raise families, and actually enjoy the homes they can afford. With a median home price around $121,600, Fort Wayne represents that rare balance between affordability and opportunity, a combination that's disappearing in many parts of the country. The city has grown steadily over the past decade, not through explosive development but through careful, thoughtful progress. It has a strong local economy, a low unemployment rate, and a reputation for being one of the most livable mid-sized cities in America. For anyone looking to settle down, Fort Wayne is the kind of place that makes sense, financially, emotionally, and practically. It's big enough to offer everything you need, yet small enough to feel human. The cost of living here is remarkably low. Rent averages around $950 a month. Groceries and utilities stay comfortably below the national average, and transportation costs are minimal since traffic is light and commutes are short. The median household income sits at about $62,000, which stretches surprisingly far in a place where expenses don't constantly climb. The numbers work in your favor here, and that's something not many cities can promise anymore. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Fort Wayne feels good to live in. The neighborhoods are green, the parks are clean, and there's a genuine sense of calm in the air. Families spend weekends at local festivals. Runners take to the trails that wind through the city, and the downtown area has just the right amount of energy. Restaurants, breweries, small businesses, and local markets that bring people together. There's no rush, no pressure to keep up, just a steady rhythm that makes everyday life feel manageable and meaningful. The housing options here reflect the city's grounded nature. You can find single-family homes with garages and backyards for well under $150,000. Many older properties have charm and character that would cost double in larger metros. Even newer developments remain within reach for middle-income buyers. The city has made a conscious effort to keep housing accessible, and it shows. Fort Wayne consistently ranks among the most affordable housing markets in the country. For young families, Fort Wayne offers security without financial strain. The schools are solid, healthcare is reliable, and the community genuinely values family life. For retirees, it's a place where savings last longer, and for remote workers, it's an ideal base. Fast internet, low costs, and peaceful surroundings. People here don't just survive, they live comfortably and with intention. One of the best-kept secrets about Fort Wayne is the revitalization of its downtown and riverfront areas. Over the last few years, the city has transformed old industrial spaces into walkable districts filled with cafes, art galleries, and public parks. The change hasn't pushed people out, it's pulled them in. It's the kind of development that adds value without erasing the local identity. For anyone dreaming of buying close to a growing area, this is where opportunity quietly waits. Fort Wayne also offers first-time homebuyer programs that make ownership even easier. Low-interest loans, down payment assistance, and renovation grants are all available for those who take the time to explore them. It's one of the few cities where the local government still prioritizes affordability and sees housing as a right, not a luxury. For many, that makes all the difference. Life here isn't about excess. It's about steadiness, the kind of steadiness that lets you plan a future without anxiety. You can buy a home, build equity, and still have money left to travel, to save, to enjoy the little things that often get lost in expensive cities. Fort Wayne reminds you that life doesn't have to be complicated to be good. It just has to be balanced. And that's exactly what this city offers. Balance between work and rest, between affordability and opportunity, between modern living and small-town peace. It's not a place you move to for prestige or status. It's a place you choose because you want your life to feel like it's finally in your control. Fort Wayne doesn't ask for much, It just quietly gives you space to live well. Head north to Wisconsin, and you'll find one more city that captures the essence of affordable, peaceful living: Green Bay. Most people know it for football, but beyond the stadiums and sports pride lies a community built on simplicity, hard work, and stability. Green Bay is the kind of place that still feels like America used to: safe, steady, and genuinely livable. With a median home price around $142,000, it's affordable enough for families, singles, or retirees who just want life to make sense again. Green Bay is a city where things feel balanced. The pace is slow enough to breathe, yet steady enough to keep you moving forward. The streets are lined with well-kept homes, local parks, and small businesses that have survived for generations. There's a warmth to the city that goes beyond its cost of living. A sense of belonging that comes from people who value community over convenience. Here, neighbors know each other's names, families spend weekends outdoors, and the feeling of safety isn't a luxury. It's normal life. The median rent sits around $1,050 a month, and the median household income is roughly $68,000. That ratio means something important. People here can actually afford the lives they live. It's not about scraping by or living paycheck to paycheck. It's about stability, about being able to plan a future without the constant weight of financial stress. Green Bay offers that rare kind of comfort, the kind that doesn't depend on wealth, but on balance. What makes Green Bay stand out is how naturally affordable it feels. You don't move here to cut costs. You move here because life already works at the right cost. The utilities are reasonable, groceries are affordable, and even local taxes stay moderate. The city's economy is steady, powered by manufacturing, healthcare, and education, and unemployment remains low. It's not booming, it's not collapsing, it's consistent, and that's exactly what many people are looking for. Homes here reflect the personality of the city: simple, sturdy, and inviting. You can find a comfortable 3-bedroom home for less than what most people pay for a 1-bedroom apartment in big cities. Many houses come with large yards, garages, and a touch of character. Things that have quietly disappeared from much of urban America. There's space to garden, to host, to breathe. And that kind of space does something to you. It slows you down in all the right ways. Beyond affordability, Green Bay offers a quality of life that's deeply human. The air feels cleaner, the nights are quieter, and even simple moments, a walk by the river, a coffee at a local cafe, a summer barbecue with friends, feel fuller. There's a certain peace that comes from knowing you're not trapped by your bills. It's the peace of living within your means, of having choices, of finding joy in the everyday. That's what Green Bay gives you. It's also one of the most community-focused cities in the region. There's pride in the local schools, care in the neighborhoods, and effort in keeping the city clean and connected. Families stay for generations because life here works. The American dream, the one that's felt lost in expensive, overcrowded metros, is still alive here, quietly thriving behind front porches and backyard fences. When you look at places like Green Bay, Fort Wayne, Akron, Toledo, and Buffalo, a pattern starts to emerge. They may not be glamorous, but they are real. They are honest. They are attainable. They show that the idea of simple, affordable living isn't gone. It's just shifted to the heart of the country. In these cities, you can still buy a home without debt swallowing your future. You can still raise a family without working 60 hours a week. You can still live comfortably on an average income. These places prove that the American dream doesn't belong to billionaires or big city developers. It belongs to everyday people who just want enough. Enough space, enough security, enough peace to build a good life. And those opportunities still exist, if you're willing to look past the obvious and open your eyes to what's possible. In a world where everything feels like it's moving faster, where prices keep climbing and people keep chasing, there's something powerful about slowing down and living simply. The most affordable cities in America aren't just cheaper, they're reminders of what really matters: home, community, balance. You don't have to wait for things to get better. You can choose better now. Because somewhere, in a quiet neighborhood in the middle of the country, a home with a front porch and a patch of grass is waiting. Maybe it's not fancy, maybe it's not big, but it's yours. And sometimes, that's all the dream ever needed to be.